Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce, and this is the Top 5 Wednesday video. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey. I will link her channel up here and the page for the Goodreads group below. This week's topic is top 5 retellings. Most of these are not in order, but the first one that I'm going to show you is my favourite retelling of all time, and that is Maleficent, which is a Disney movie and still counts because there's a book. Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of the original Disney Sleeping Beauty. I don't know what it is, it's just that every time I watched it, I found it really, really unsatisfying. But I was really excited to find out that Maleficent was going to be a thing because I love Angelina Jolie. And also, I really love when fairy tale retellings are told from the perspective of the villain and we find out what made them so villainous. Like, one of my favourite character arcs in the show Once Upon a Time is when we find out why Regina hates Snow White so much. Like, my poor heart, all of the feels. Okay, so this movie is really, really great because it makes Maleficent a sympathetic character. In the original movie, she's very much a two-dimensional villain. You know, she's evil because she's evil and that's why she does things. But in this, everything is entirely justified, in my opinion. Like, what happens to her is horrific and she has every right to hate the king and his entire family because of that. But even though she hates the king, it doesn't necessarily make her hate Aurora. I don't want to say too much because I'm going into spoiler territory, but I just think that Maleficent's character development over the course of the film, from goody to baddie and onwards, is really, really beautiful. And even though her hatred of the king is justified, I won't say her actions are, but her hatred definitely is, she kind of doesn't always let that rule her. And the twist at the end with True Love's kiss just gives me chills every single time, and I'm so, so glad that this movie subverted that trope in the way that it did, because it's really, really great. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, you really, really should, because it's my favourite movie of all time and also really, really feminist. The next lot of retellings I'm going to talk about are William Shakespeare's Star Wars by Ian Dozier, which is a book series. So this is the 6 Star Wars movies retold using Shakespearean language and in some places also verse, the way that Shakespeare did it. And it's just really, really funny and really clever. And as soon as I read the prologue of this one, which is Verily a New Hope, which is the first one, I just knew it was going to be amazing. Like, if you like Star Wars and you like Shakespeare and you haven't read these, what are you doing? Because they are so clever and really funny and you won't regret them. The fuck was that? That's what I thought. Siri just turned herself on. What the fuck? Siri, what are you doing?
I'm learning some new tricks.
That was weird. AI. The next retelling I'm going to show you is The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Bador, which is the first in a trilogy. This is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland and follows the kind of well-used trope that Lewis Carroll didn't take Alice Liddell seriously enough, that what she told him actually happened and he just thinks it's a story. But this one is just really, really amazing, and I've read it twice and I've been really impressed with it both times. Just the way that Frank Bador imagines Wonderland was really, really great, and Alice's character development in this is also really well done. And I haven't read the second one, I haven't been able to get into it yet, but just in general, this series is really, really great and it just blows my mind whenever I think about it. And I really think that Frank Bador's imagination would be a really great place to live because it sounds like a really, really fantastic place. Okay, the next retelling I'm going to talk to you about is Clueless, which is a film written and directed by Amy Heckerling. If you don't know, Clueless is a retelling of Emma by Jane Austen. And I never liked Emma until I had to read it for school, and then I kind of, warmed up to it a little bit. And before I read it, I could never even sit through an entire film adaptation of the book because Emma was just too infuriating for me. But I always liked Clueless. And when I found out that Clueless was a retelling of Emma, my appreciation for both things kind of Rose. I mean, Clueless is a really great movie on its own, but when you watch it in the context of a retelling with Emma, it just makes it so much better and so much more clever. And Amy Heckerling did a really great job of bringing the story of Emma into the modern age, but also staying true to like its messages and the heart of it. And it's just a really, really great job, and it's just a fabulous watching experience. And then the last retelling that I'm going to talk about is the web series Carmilla. I will leave a link in the description bar. It's got 2 seasons out already, and I think maybe a 3rd called Carmilla Zero or something. Anyway, I will leave a link to the playlist of the first series down below so you can binge watch it at your pleasure. This is a retelling of a vampire novella written in the 1800s by a man called J. Sheridan Fanyu, about a kind of lesbianic vampire. But in the web series, it's set at the campus of a university called Silas, and this girl called Laura has just arrived there for class, and she finds out that people are disappearing and no one really cares or is trying to find out why. And she's like, well, I've seen every episode of Veronica Mars, I'm going to investigate this. And it's just really, really funny. And she has this really kind of moody roommate called Carmilla. And she kind of theorizes that Carmilla is a vampire, which would make her a baddie, but also there is some sexual tension between them. And she has to try and deal with that, to deal with living with Carmilla and deal with Carmilla being a vampire and also all the stuff happening on campus. And it's just really, really funny and a joy to watch. And I love absolutely all of the characters. They're really great. And this is another thing that if you are not watching it, what are you doing with your life? So yeah, those are my 5 answers for this week's Top 5 Wednesday, and I will see you next week. Bye everyone.